Hey, I never thought I'd be one of those people posting here, but I need to get this off my chest. My name's John, and I've been married to my wife, Lisa, for just under a year. We were that couple everyone envied, or so I thought. We met through mutual friends, had a whirlwind romance, and tied the knot in a beautiful ceremony that now feels like a sick joke. Things started to feel off a few months ago. Lisa's behavior changed subtly at first. She used to be so affectionate, always reaching for my hand or stealing kisses. But lately she seemed distant, always on her phone, and working late more often than not. She works at a high-end marketing firm, and her boss, Mike, is the typical corporate alpha, smooth-talking, good-looking, and rich. I tried to be understanding. I mean, everyone has stressful periods at work, right? But there were other signs too. Lisa started dressing differently, more provocatively, and she would get defensive when I asked about her day. Our sex life took a nosedive, which she attributed to stress. I wanted to believe her, so I did, even though my gut was screaming that something was wrong. Last week, everything came crashing down. I was at home, trying to fix a leaky faucet, which Lisa usually nagged me about, when I got a message on Facebook from a woman named Karen. She introduced herself as Lisa's colleague and asked if we could talk. I felt a knot in my stomach as I agreed. Karen told me she needed to share something urgent, something I deserved to know. She then sent me a video file apologizing in advance for the content. My hands were shaking as I clicked on it. The footage was grainy, but clear enough. It showed Lisa in her boss's office. Mike was there too, and it wasn't just a casual meeting. They were engaged in some intense BDSM activities, something I never even knew Lisa was into. The video was from a surveillance camera, obviously not meant to be seen by outsiders. My mind went blank. I felt like I was going to throw up. I watched the whole thing, hoping it was some sick prank, but it was undeniably real. My wife was cheating on me, and not just cheating. She was doing things with Mike that she had never even hinted at with me. I sat there in stunned silence for what felt like hours. When I finally mustered the strength to call Lisa, she didn't pick up. I texted her to come home immediately, and she responded with her usual excuses about work. I didn't care. I told her it was urgent and she needed to be here. When Lisa walked through the door, I was ready. I confronted her, video evidence in hand. The look on her face when she saw it was a mix of shock and fear. She tried to deny it at first, saying it was an old video or a deepfake, but the panic in her eyes betrayed her. I demanded the truth. Lisa broke down, admitting she had been having an affair with Mike for months. She tried to justify it by saying Mike understood her in ways I couldn't, that their relationship was purely physical and about exploring new experiences. Her words cut deeper than any knife. The woman I thought I knew, the woman I married, had been lying to my face, and the betrayal was more profound than I could ever imagine. I felt like my entire world had been turned upside down. The anger, sadness, and betrayal were overwhelming. I couldn't look at her. I told Lisa to pack her things and leave. She begged and pleaded, saying it was a mistake, that she loved me and wanted to make things right. But there was no coming back from this. The trust was shattered beyond repair. She packed a bag and left that night, her sobs echoing through our empty house. I was alone, devastated, and numb. I didn't sleep at all, just sat on the couch staring at nothing, replaying the video in my mind and wondering how things had gone so horribly wrong. I'm still trying to process everything, and I don't know what comes next. I just needed to get this out there, to share my story with someone, anyone, who might understand what I'm going through. The day after Lisa left, I was still in a daze. I called in sick to work, knowing there was no way I could focus on anything. I spent the day just trying to wrap my head around everything. I went through all our messages, trying to find signs I might have missed. The more I looked, the more obvious it seemed. How could I have been so blind? I reached out to Karen again, thanking her for telling me the truth. She apologized profusely, saying she couldn't stand seeing me being lied to and betrayed. She also told me there were more videos, spanning months. I asked her to send them, even though I knew watching them would be like rubbing salt in an open wound. I needed to see the full extent of Lisa's betrayal to understand what I was dealing with. When I received the files, I forced myself to watch each one. It was pure torture, but I couldn't look away. There they were, Lisa and Mike, in various stages of undress, engaging in acts I never thought my wife capable of. They were in his office, the conference room, even at what appeared to be company events. My wife was living a double life, and I was just a footnote. After enduring the videos, I knew I had to take action. First, I called a lawyer. I wanted to understand my options and what the next steps were. The lawyer was sympathetic and straightforward. Since Lisa and I had no children and had been married for less than a year, the divorce process would be relatively simple and quick. That was a small mercy, at least. Next, I contacted Lisa's parents. This was one of the hardest calls I've ever had to make. They adored me and had always treated me like a son. I hated to shatter their image of their daughter, but they needed to know the truth. Her mother broke down in tears, and her father was furious, not just at Lisa, but at Mike as well. They promised to support me in any way they could, and I believed them. Then came the confrontation with Mike. I went to his office, half expecting security to stop me, but no one did. I barged into his office, and the look of surprise on his face was almost worth the agony I'd been through. I threw the USB drive with the videos on his desk and told him he was a pathetic excuse for a man. He tried to act unfazed, but I could see the fear in his eyes. I've already contacted HR, I told him. They're getting a copy of these videos, too. You won't just lose your job, you'll lose any credibility you ever had. He tried to bribe me, saying we could make this all go away, but I wasn't interested. I told him to shove his money where the sun doesn't shine and walked out. I heard later from Karen that Mike was fired immediately, and his wife had filed for divorce as well. Good riddance. Lisa continued to reach out, begging for forgiveness. She left voicemails, texts, and even showed up at my work a few times. I blocked her on everything and had to get a restraining order to keep her away. Her parents apologized on her behalf, but I told them it wasn't their fault. Lisa made her own choices, and she had to live with the consequences. Emotionally, I was a wreck. I'd go from numb to furious to heartbroken within minutes. Nights were the worst. Our bed felt like a vast empty void without her. I missed the woman I thought I married, but I knew she didn't exist. My friends were incredible, rallying around me, taking me out to get my mind off things, but it was hard to enjoy anything. I started seeing a therapist, which helped more than I expected. Talking about my feelings, my sense of betrayal, and my shattered trust was painful but necessary. I learned to start focusing on myself, on rebuilding my life. I picked up old hobbies I'd neglected, like running and painting. They became my therapy, my way of finding some semblance of peace. Despite everything, there were moments of clarity. I realized that Lisa's actions were a reflection of her, not me. I wasn't to blame for her cheating. She was the one who chose deceit and betrayal. That realization was liberating in a way. So here I am, still picking up the pieces but getting stronger every day. I don't know what the future holds, but I know I won't let this define me. If anyone else is going through something similar, just know that you're not alone. There's light at the end of the tunnel, even if it's hard to see right now. After confronting Mike and starting the divorce process, I threw myself into work and hobbies to keep my mind occupied. Running became my escape, and I joined a local running club. It felt good to be around new people, folks who didn't know about the mess my life had become. Plus, the physical exertion helped me sleep at night, something I hadn't done properly since discovering Lisa's affair. Therapy continued to be a lifeline. My therapist, Dr. Martin, helped me navigate the emotional roller coaster. We talked a lot about trust and betrayal, about rebuilding my self-esteem. One of the hardest things to accept was that it was okay to feel hurt, that my feelings were valid. For a long time I felt ashamed, like I should have been stronger or seen the signs sooner. Lisa kept trying to contact me, but I stood my ground. She sent letters, left gifts at my door, even had mutual friends reach out on her behalf. I stayed firm, though. I couldn't let her back into my life after what she'd done. The restraining order helped, and eventually she got the message. Work became my sanctuary. My boss, James, was incredibly supportive. He knew something was up and gave me space when I needed it, but also encouraged me to stay busy. I took on more projects, pouring my energy into them. It paid off, and I received a promotion. It was a small but significant victory, reminding me that I was still capable and valuable. One evening, after a particularly grueling run with the club, I found myself talking to a woman named Emily. She was new to the group, friendly, with a warm smile that was infectious. We ended up running together a lot, and our conversations flowed easily. She didn't pry into my personal life, and I appreciated that. It felt good to just be John, not the guy whose wife cheated on him. As weeks turned into months, Emily and I grew closer. We started grabbing coffee after runs, then dinner. She was smart, funny, and empathetic. I found myself opening up to her about my past, and she listened without judgment. Sharing my story with her was cathartic. She made me realize that I wasn't broken, just bruised. Divorce proceedings with Lisa were relatively smooth. Since we had no children and our marriage was short, there wasn't much to divide. The hardest part was the emotional toll, but knowing it was almost over gave me a sense of closure. When the final papers came through, I felt a weight lift off my shoulders. It was done. I was free. Lisa's parents continued to check in on me. They were devastated by what their daughter had done, but were grateful I had handled it with as much grace as possible. I still cared for them and appreciated their support. They deserved to know that despite everything, I was going to be okay. Emily and I took things slow, but it was clear there was something special between us. She had her own baggage. She was divorced too, though under different circumstances. We bonded over our shared experiences, understanding the pain and the hope that came with starting over. She helped me see that I could love again, that I deserved to be happy. I'm not going to lie, there are still bad days. Days where the memories creep back in, where the anger and hurt feel fresh. But those days are becoming fewer and farther between. I'm learning to let go, to focus on the future instead of the past. If there's one piece of advice I can give to anyone going through something similar, it's this. Don't let someone else's actions define your worth. You're stronger than you think, and there is life after betrayal. Surround yourself with good people, find outlets for your pain, and take it one day at a time. Healing isn't linear, and it's okay to stumble along the way. It's been a few months, and I'm happy to report that life has continued to improve. Sharing my journey with you has been incredibly therapeutic, and I want to keep you all in the loop. After finalizing my divorce from Lisa, I decided it was time to make some changes. I sold the house that held too many painful memories and moved to a new apartment across town. It was a fresh start in a place that didn't have ghosts of the past lurking around every corner. The move was cathartic, like shedding an old skin and stepping into a new life. Emily was a big part of this transition. She helped me pack, move, and settle into my new place. We spent hours arranging furniture, hanging pictures, and making it feel like home. Her presence was a constant source of comfort and joy. We laughed a lot during those days, and it felt good to create new memories in a space that was ours. Work continued to be a haven. My promotion came with more responsibilities, and I threw myself into new projects. The team I worked with was fantastic, and we achieved some major milestones. My boss, James, recognized my efforts, and even mentioned the possibility of another promotion down the line. It was reassuring to know that despite the chaos in my personal life, my professional life was thriving. Emily and I grew closer, and our relationship blossomed. We spent weekends exploring new hiking trails, trying out new restaurants, and even took a short trip to the coast. She had a way of making every moment feel special, and I found myself smiling more than I had in years. For the first time since discovering Lisa's betrayal, I felt genuinely happy. We decided to make our relationship official, and it felt like a natural progression. Emily met my friends, and they instantly liked her. She fit in seamlessly, and seeing her bond with the people who had supported me through my darkest times was heartwarming. My friends were thrilled to see me happy again, and their approval meant a lot to both of us. One evening, Emily and I were having dinner at a cozy little restaurant when she suggested something that took me by surprise. She proposed that we take a weekend getaway to a cabin in the mountains. She knew I loved nature and thought it would be a great way for us to unwind and connect even more deeply. I loved the idea, and we planned our trip for the following month. The cabin was perfect secluded, surrounded by towering trees, with a stunning view of the mountains. We spent our days hiking and our nights by the fireplace, talking about everything and nothing. One night, as we sat under the stars, Emily opened up about her own struggles and fears. Her vulnerability touched me deeply, and I realized just how much I had fallen for her. Our weekend getaway solidified our bond. We returned to the city with a deeper understanding of each other and a stronger connection. It felt like the start of something beautiful, something I never thought I'd find again after Lisa. Speaking of Lisa, she continued to try and reach out sporadically, but I maintained my distance. The restraining order helped, and I made it clear to her that there was no chance of reconciliation. It was a hard line to draw, but a necessary one for my own sanity and healing. Lisa's parents and I still spoke occasionally. They were devastated by the fallout of her actions, but respected my decision to move on. They were kind people, and I didn't blame them for what happened. Our relationship, while not as close as before, remained amicable. My therapist, Dr. Martin, continued to be a crucial part of my healing journey. We talked about my new relationship with Emily, my lingering fears, and the challenges of moving on. She helped me navigate my emotions and provided valuable insights into building a healthy, trusting relationship again. Reflecting on everything that had happened, I realized how much I had grown. The betrayal that once felt like it would break me had instead forged a stronger, more resilient version of myself. I had learned to value my own worth, to set boundaries, and to embrace the possibilities of a brighter future. If I could offer any advice to others going through similar pain, it would be to hold on to hope. Surround yourself with people who lift you up, seek professional help if you need it, and don't rush your healing process. It's okay to take your time, to stumble, and to find your own path to recovery. Emily and I have grown even closer. Our bond feels unshakable, built on mutual respect, trust, and understanding. We've had our share of tough conversations, especially about our pasts and our fears, but it's only brought us closer together. It feels amazing to be in a relationship where openness and honesty are the foundations. We've started talking about our future more seriously. We both want the same things: a stable, loving relationship, and possibly a family down the line. These discussions feel natural and unforced, a stark contrast to the uneasy silence that had settled over my marriage with Lisa in its final months. With Emily, everything feels right. One of the most significant developments was our decision to move in together. After many discussions and weighing the pros and cons, we felt ready to take this step. It was both exciting and nerve-wracking, but I knew it was the right move. We found a beautiful apartment in a vibrant neighborhood, with plenty of space for the two of us. Moving in together was a milestone, marking a new chapter in our lives. The move itself was a whirlwind. We combined our belongings, making decisions about what to keep, what to donate, and what new pieces we needed. The process was surprisingly smooth, a testament to how well we worked together. Our new place quickly felt like home, filled with laughter, love, and a sense of new beginnings. During this time, I also received another promotion at work. My hard work and dedication paid off, and I was now in a managerial position. It was a huge confidence boost, reinforcing that I was on the right path professionally. My colleagues threw me a small celebration, and it felt great to be recognized and appreciated. Emily's career was also thriving. She's an elementary school teacher, and her students adore her. Watching her in her element, passionate about her work, only made me admire her more. We celebrated each other's successes, big and small, and it felt wonderful to have that mutual support. However, there was a lingering issue that I needed to address: Lisa. Despite the restraining order and my firm stance, she occasionally tried to reach out. Her attempts were less frequent, but they still happened. I hadn't seen her in person since the night I kicked her out, but she sent letters and tried contacting me through mutual friends. One day I received a letter from Lisa's parents. They expressed their sadness over the situation and their continued support for me. They also mentioned that Lisa was struggling, seeking therapy, and trying to understand her actions. They weren't asking for reconciliation, but wanted me to know that Lisa was making an effort to change. Reading their letter stirred a mix of emotions. Part of me still harbored anger and resentment, but another part of me felt a twinge of sadness. Despite everything, Lisa had been a significant part of my life, and it was hard to erase those feelings entirely. I decided to reach out to her parents, thanking them for their kindness and updating them on my life. It was a step towards closure, acknowledging the past while looking forward to the future. My therapist, Dr. Martin, and I discussed these feelings in our sessions. She helped me process the complexity of my emotions and reaffirmed that it was okay to feel conflicted. Moving on didn't mean forgetting. It meant accepting and learning from the past. Emily was incredibly understanding about my decision to communicate with Lisa's parents. She trusted me and knew that this was part of my healing journey. Her support meant the world to me, and it reinforced the strength of our relationship. With Lisa's chapter firmly closing, I focused on building a future with Emily. We planned more trips, created a cozy home, and enjoyed each other's company. Every day felt like a gift, and I was grateful for the second chance at happiness. As I sit here writing this update, I feel a sense of peace that I haven't felt in a long time. Life has a way of surprising you, and while the journey has been tumultuous, it has also led me to a place of contentment and joy. Emily and I are planning a trip to Europe next year, something we've both always dreamed of. It's exciting to think about the adventures ahead and the memories we'll create together. It's been a few more months, and I have another update for you all. Life has continued to move forward in positive ways, and I've found myself growing and rediscovering who I am and what I want from life. Here's what's been happening. Emily and I have settled beautifully into our new apartment. Our home is filled with light and laughter, and every corner holds a piece of our story. We've made it a point to create new traditions, weekly game nights, Sunday morning hikes, and spontaneous dance parties in the kitchen. It's amazing how these small rituals have brought us even closer. One of the most significant things I've done recently is reconnecting with old friends and hobbies. Before everything with Lisa, I used to be an avid painter. It was a passion of mine that got lost in the chaos of the last few years. Emily encouraged me to pick up the brush again, and it's been incredibly therapeutic. I even enrolled in a local art class, where I've met some fantastic people who share my love for creativity. Painting has become my refuge, a way to express emotions that I can't always put into words. I've found that it helps me process lingering feelings about Lisa's betrayal and my journey of healing. I've started a series of paintings that reflect this journey, and it's been a profound experience. Emily loves my work and even suggested we host a small exhibit in our apartment for friends and family. We're planning it for next month, and I'm both excited and nervous. Work continues to go well. The managerial role has its challenges, but I'm enjoying it. Leading a team and seeing our projects come to fruition is incredibly rewarding. I've also been mentoring a few younger colleagues, helping them navigate their careers and personal challenges. It feels good to give back and support others, especially since I've received so much support myself. Emily and I have also been exploring new adventures together. Our trip to Europe is just a few months away, and we've been busy planning our itinerary. We'll be visiting Paris, Rome, and Barcelona, 3 cities we've always dreamed of. It's our first big trip together, and the anticipation is half the fun. We've been learning a bit of French and Italian, cooking dishes from those regions, and immersing ourselves in travel guides and blogs. On a more personal note, I've continued to work on myself through therapy. Dr. Martin has been instrumental in helping me understand the deeper impacts of Lisa's betrayal and how it shaped my perceptions and reactions. We've delved into my self-esteem issues and trust concerns, and I've made significant progress. I feel more confident and secure in my relationship with Emily and in my own skin. Lisa has remained distant, respecting the boundaries I set. She hasn't tried to contact me. And while I occasionally hear about her from mutual friends or her parents, I've managed to keep my distance. Her parents have been very supportive, and they've shared that Lisa is continuing her therapy and making efforts to improve her life. It's a relief to know she's getting help, but I'm also glad that chapter of my life is behind me. Emily and I have also been talking more about our future. We're on the same page about a lot of things: career aspirations, the possibility of starting a family someday, and personal goals. It's a refreshing change to be in a relationship where open communication is the norm. We're building a life together that's based on trust, love, and mutual respect. One of the most heartwarming moments recently was a small surprise Emily arranged for me. She knew how much I loved nature and missed my childhood camping trips. So she planned a weekend getaway to a secluded cabin in the woods. It was the perfect mix of nostalgia and new experiences. We hiked, fished, and spent our evenings by the campfire, talking about everything under the stars. It was one of the most peaceful and fulfilling weekends I've had in a long time. Reflecting on my journey, I'm grateful for where I am now. The pain and betrayal from Lisa's infidelity were devastating, but they led me to a path of self-discovery and growth. I've learned to value myself, to set boundaries, and to cherish the people who truly care about me. If there's one piece of advice I'd like to share, it's to never give up on yourself. Life can throw some brutal punches, but each challenge is an opportunity to grow and become stronger. Surround yourself with positive influences, seek professional help if you need it, and allow yourself to heal at your own pace. The past few months have been transformative, filled with moments of joy, growth, and reflection. Here's what's been happening. Emily and I have been busy preparing for our trip to Europe, which is now just a few weeks away. Our excitement is through the roof, and we've meticulously planned our itinerary. We'll be visiting iconic landmarks, indulging in local cuisines, and immersing ourselves in the rich cultures of Paris, Rome, and Barcelona. We even signed up for a couple of cooking classes to learn how to make traditional dishes. It's shaping up to be the trip of a lifetime. As the trip approaches, I've been reflecting a lot on my journey over the past year. It's hard to believe how much has changed since I discovered Lisa's affair. The pain and betrayal were suffocating, but I've come out on the other side stronger and more self-assured. Therapy has been instrumental in this transformation. Dr. Martin has helped me understand the importance of resilience and self-worth. She's taught me to embrace my emotions, both the good and the bad, and to see challenges as opportunities for growth. One of the most significant moments recently was the art exhibit Emily and I hosted in our apartment. It was a small, intimate gathering of friends, family, and a few colleagues. We transformed our living room into a gallery, displaying my paintings that chronicle my journey of healing and self-discovery. The response was overwhelmingly positive. People were moved by the raw emotions in my work, and some even purchased a few pieces. Seeing others connect with my art was incredibly fulfilling and gave me a sense of purpose I hadn't felt in a long time. Work continues to be a source of satisfaction and achievement. My team and I recently completed a major project, and our success was celebrated company-wide. James, my boss, has been supportive throughout, encouraging me to take on new challenges and expand my skill set. I've also started mentoring a few more junior colleagues, helping them navigate their careers and personal lives. It's rewarding to see them grow and succeed, knowing that I've played a small part in their journeys. Emily's career is also flourishing. Her dedication to her students is inspiring, and she's been recognized for her innovative teaching methods. She recently received an award for excellence in education, and I couldn't be prouder. We celebrated her achievement with a surprise party, inviting her colleagues, friends, and family. It was a joyous occasion, filled with laughter and love. One day, Emily and I were sitting on our balcony enjoying a quiet evening together. She brought up the idea of starting a family someday. It was a heartfelt conversation, and while we're not rushing into anything, it was comforting to know we're on the same page about our future. We both want to build a life together, filled with love, trust, and mutual respect. It's a stark contrast to the uncertainty and mistrust that plagued my marriage with Lisa. Speaking of Lisa, I recently received a message from her parents. They wanted to let me know that Lisa is doing better, continuing her therapy, and making strides in her personal life. They also mentioned that she's moved to another city to start fresh. It's a relief to know she's getting the help she needs, but I'm also glad that chapter of my life is firmly behind me. Emily and I have been creating more shared memories, exploring new hobbies together. We've taken up kayaking, which has been a blast. Being out on the water, working in tandem, has brought us even closer. We've also started a small garden on our balcony, growing herbs and flowers. It's a simple pleasure, but one that brings a lot of joy to our daily lives. Reflecting on my journey, I realize how much I've grown. The betrayal that once seemed insurmountable has become a part of my past, a lesson that shaped me into who I am today. I've learned to trust again, to open my heart, and to embrace the possibilities of the future. Emily has been a significant part of this transformation, but it's also been about finding my inner strength and resilience. If there's one piece of advice I'd offer to anyone going through similar struggles, it's this: give yourself the grace to heal. It's okay to take your time, to feel the pain, and to find your way at your own pace. Surround yourself with supportive people, seek professional help if needed, and never lose sight of your worth. Healing is a journey, not a destination, and every step forward is a victory. Thank you all for your support and encouragement throughout this process. Here's the conclusion to my story. Our trip to Europe was everything we dreamed it would be and more. Emily and I soaked in the beauty and culture of Paris, Rome, and Barcelona. We wandered through museums, marveled at historic sites, and enjoyed delicious meals at charming little cafes. The highlight for me was a surprise Emily arranged, an art workshop in Paris. We spent the day painting along the Seine, guided by a local artist. It was magical, and it reaffirmed my love for art and the joy of sharing it with someone I love. Returning home, I felt a renewed sense of purpose and clarity. The trip was a reminder that life is full of beautiful moments waiting to be experienced. Emily and I grew even closer, our bond strengthened by the shared adventure and the deep conversations we had along the way. One evening, shortly after we returned, Emily and I were sitting on our balcony, reflecting on our trip. She took my hand and told me how much she loved me and how she couldn't imagine her life without me. I felt the same way, and in that moment I realized just how far I'd come from the dark days following Lisa's betrayal. We decided to make our commitment to each other even more permanent. In a private, intimate ceremony at our favorite park, surrounded by close friends and family, Emily and I exchanged vows. It was a simple but beautiful event, filled with love and hope. Looking into Emily's eyes, I knew I was exactly where I was meant to be. Professionally, things continued to flourish. My team and I completed several successful projects, and I received another promotion. Mentoring younger colleagues became a passion of mine, and I took pride in helping them grow and succeed. My boss, James, remained a supportive and encouraging presence, and I felt valued and respected in my role. Emily's career also reached new heights. She was promoted to head of her department, a testament to her dedication and innovative teaching methods. We celebrated her achievements together, and it felt wonderful to support each other in our professional endeavors. Throughout all these changes, therapy remained an essential part of my journey. Dr. Martin helped me navigate the complexities of my emotions and reinforced the importance of self-care and boundaries. I learned to forgive myself for the past, to let go of the residual anger, and to embrace the future with an open heart. Lisa, meanwhile, had moved on with her life. The occasional updates from her parents indicated that she was continuing therapy and making positive changes. I wished her well from a distance, grateful that our paths had diverged. The pain she caused was a significant part of my story, but it no longer defined me. Emily and I continued to build our life together, creating new traditions and memories. We traveled to new places, took up new hobbies, and cherished the simple joys of everyday life. Our home was a sanctuary filled with love, laughter, and the occasional paint splatter from our art sessions. Reflecting on my journey, I've learned that resilience is born from adversity. The betrayal that once felt like it would break me became the catalyst for profound personal growth. I discovered my strength, rebuilt my life, and found love again. It wasn't an easy path, but it was worth every step. To anyone reading this who may be going through a similar experience, I offer this advice. Trust the process of healing. Allow yourself to feel the pain, seek support, and focus on your own growth. Surround yourself with people who uplift you and never lose sight of your worth. Healing takes time, but it is possible, and you will emerge stronger and more resilient. Thank you for being a part of my journey. Your support has been a beacon of hope during my darkest days, and I'm grateful for this community. As I close this chapter, I'm excited for the future and whatever it holds. Life is a beautiful, unpredictable journey, and I'm ready to embrace it with open arms. The end.
Subscribe to the channel and share your impressions in the comments.